Hey y'all, hi, what fun. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 makeup products, each one of which I either thought I wasn't going to like before I tried it or didn't like when I first tried it, but each one of the 5 has become an unexpected hit, indeed an unexpected favorite since then. If this happens to be your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Hannah and I really love makeup, but I try not to buy too much of it. In order to balance my desire for beautiful things with my desire for financial stability, I have to know myself. I have to pay close attention to what I like, how things tend to go between me and the products that I buy or try, so that I can as accurately as possible predict whether or not any given purchasing decision is going to be a good one. However, lately I've been reflecting on the fact that I can't, in spite of my best intentions and my most conscientious efforts, I can't always know. Right? You can't know the future. So even though I am trying to make good purchasing decisions and not to spend too much, I would say even more than that, I'm trying to keep a realistic and a healthy sense of my lack of control, my lack of knowledge of the future. When it comes to knowing for sure whether or not a purchasing decision is going to be good or whether or not a product is going to work out for us, all we can do is our best. And I'm hoping that by thinking a little bit about products that really surprise me or products that I change my mind about, I can integrate that knowledge more deeply into my subconscious. So for this video, I'm going to be focusing delightfully on products that surprise me in a positive way, things that turned out to be great even though I didn't think that they would. If you enjoy this while you're watching it and you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. The first product I have here is something that I tried only recently, and I tried it on camera for the first time. I didn't like the way that it looked, and then I messed with it a little bit, added something to it, and I loved the way that it looked so passionately that I've worn it a number of times since then. I just can't stop wearing it. It's the Persona Cosmetics Bronze Multi-Stick in the shade Dune. This is a new release from Persona, and I've already messed it over quite a bit. As you can see, it's got some highlighter smeared on it because I just used it today when I applied this look and I mixed it with a highlighter. It's a little bit broken up on the tip. It came a little bit smashed, but I don't love it any less for that. I'm gonna wipe the highlighter off so I can give you a good swatch. When I first applied this to my cheeks, I applied it like a blush and I was gonna wear it as a blush because that's what I usually do with bronzers. Most of the bronzers that I have are kind of rosy because when I get sun, I don't get bronze, I get rosy. So those are the bronzers I tend to gravitate towards. And then I wear them as blushes because they're on the rosy end of the spectrum. They're kind of interchangeable. This is more of an orangey bronze. It's not super orange, but when I put it on and buffed it out the first time, I felt like it looked too orange and was almost making me look a little bit sickly. So my first reaction was like, that's not gonna work at all. This isn't one of the bronzers that I can use as a blush, and so it's not for me and I'm gonna give it away. That was what I first thought. But in that same Get Ready With Me, I was testing a blush, and when I applied the blush on top of this bronzer, the whole look came alive in such an intense, healthy, glowy way. And it was a look, an effect that I definitely couldn't have gotten just from the blush. It was the combination of the bronzer and the blush that really made my complexion come alive. So not only did I immediately have a renewed appreciation for this and interest in it, but I feel like it finally hit home on that day to me what a bronzer that's not blushy can actually be for. It's like it provides a base, like a bronzy base, for a brighter color, and then the two of them together make your complexion look more dynamic, more alive. So there's a thick swatch of it. There it is, more blended out. It's a really blendable, creamy product. Very, very easy to work with. I am wearing it today. Today I blended it with the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wanded Spotlight. It's a very, very shiny look. And then I put a little bit of the Rituel de Fille Inner Glow Cream Pigment in Eros just on the tips of my cheeks to make it a little bit duskier and more neutral. So today I didn't even put a brighter color like a pink or a berry or red or anything on it. I didn't actually use color to brighten or enhance or kind of like change the tone, the slightly orangey tone of the bronzer. I actually used something that's more cool toned, like to neutralize it. So it sort of works in either direction. But I actually feel like it did for this look the same thing that is done for looks where I've used brighter blush on top. This by itself, the Rituel Defeat Cream Pigment in Arrows by itself, is kind of hard for me to pull off because it's a dark, cool-toned brown blush. Even when I buff it out, it's easy for it to end up looking a little bit dirty on my cheeks. But I feel like with the underlying layer of this bronzer, I ended up with a beautiful application of the Inner Glow cream pigment. So I've ended up really, really loving this product. I feel excited every time I have an occasion to wear it, and it's definitely gonna stay in my collection. All right, the second product that impressed me with its brilliance is this unexpectedly wonderful cat. When I first saw it, I thought that its tummy looked a little bit too spotty for my purposes, but then I realized that a spotty-tummied cat was my dream product. Just kidding, Sadie's not makeup. She's a scarf. The actual second makeup product that impressed me so much was this Wet n Wild Glass Correct Primer Base. This, one of you told me about in the comments. One of you was like, you gotta try the Wet n Wild Glass Correct in green. And I was like, okay, so I got it. But I got it for review on YouTube because I was thinking that I would be able to give a really thorough review of it and, you know, just spill the tea for any of you who is looking for a drugstore alternative to the more high-end illuminators and color correctors that I love and that I often talk about. So I was expecting it to be like a subpar version of the concoction that I create when I mix Hollywood Flawless Filter with green color corrector or the Auric Glow Less with green color corrector to put all over my face. I was expecting it to be a subpar version of that concoction, and I was hoping to be able to answer the question, how subpar? But how subpar? Would it maybe still be worth it for someone to get it, someone who didn't want to invest in all of those things? So after I had purchased it and it was winging its way towards me in the mail, that's what I thought. Then when I got it and I started playing with it, like just, you know, put a little on my hand and started messing with it, I still thought that I wasn't gonna like it that much because it comes out this kind of jelly-like consistency. And when I say jelly, I mean G-E-L, gel. Like gelish. And do you see the shine there? Do you see how incredibly wet that looks? Like a melting gel of some kind? That's because it is like that. That's because it feels like that. As you're starting to rub it in, it starts to feel like a melting gel cream skincare product. And when I first started playing with it, I was worried it was gonna do that thing that gels do where they completely melt away and sort of lose their pigment entirely and they lose their substance. Like they don't feel like they've left any kind of layer on the skin, they're just kind of gone. People like that quality in a skincare product because it feels like it's gone once it's soaked in, but I didn't want this to be like that. I wanted it to leave sort of a somewhat occlusive, because I like a primer to create a barrier between my skin and the makeup. I wanted to leave a barrier that was gonna be really shiny and that was gonna be a little bit green. But you can see that in spite of how it felt when I was rubbing it in, it did do that. It left a barrier that's a little bit green. You can see the difference, right, between the back of this hand and the back of this one. You can also see how shiny it is. And I'm happy to report that it also, once it gets to this stage, it starts to set and it does feel much, much beefier and creamier than you think it's gonna feel when you first start rubbing it in. So that gel-like quality is nice because it makes it really spread easily and spread thinly. It's very, very cosmetically elegant. But then when it gets down to it, it does put a layer of something on your skin that feels a little bit hydrating, nourishing, and it holds its own. So once I started actually experimenting with it, putting it on my face, rubbing it in, letting it set, putting makeup on top of it, I was very surprised and pleasantly so by all of those qualities. And I was delighted that it was providing a bit of green color correcting. I have gone in sometimes when my skin's been really red or when I've had redness around blemishes and scarring that I really, really want to neutralize. I have sometimes gone in with like a straight pigmented green color corrector on top of this product when it doesn't do the job with those really dark spots. So if you need the big guns for color correcting, then this isn't going to be enough to do the whole job. But if you just want the little guns, then this is going to be enough to do the whole job. And sometimes for me, especially now that my skin's clearing up, sometimes it's enough. I just put it on and then I go in with a thin layer of base product on top of it, and it does the whole job of neutralizing redness and giving me that canvas from which I like to start. It's just so good in every way. The consistency, the experience of applying it, the dry down, the longevity, it really does provide a barrier and make my makeup last longer. the dose of green color correcting, the beautiful, the luminous and sort of sheer shine, really wet look, glass skin shine that it gives. I was worried based on looking at it on the website and just based on my past experiences with drugstore primers like this, that it was going to have more of like an icy or frosty shine, but it doesn't. It has that really, really glassy, wet look, sheer shine that I love. So it has been a smash hit, an absolute smash hit. And I've been eschewing my more high-end illuminators and color correctors in favor of this. I've used up a bunch of it and I'm gonna be sad when it's gone. Because I'm me, I probably won't go repurchasing it again. I'll just go back to using my other ones and use them until they're used up. I'm not gonna like buy it again when I don't need it. But if I were starting over with my makeup collection and I just needed to buy one illuminator, I would probably buy this one because it's so affordable and it performs so well. Okay, the third product here, way exceeded my expectations. And this happened recently and it happened on camera. It's this palette from ZC. So I did a video where I was trying makeup that was in the Purgatory box and I hadn't tested this palette yet. And so I was testing it for the first time on camera by way of starting the process of trying to decide if I'm going to keep it or not. And I don't know, some of the stuff I've tried from ZC has been good, some hasn't been good, and I just wasn't expecting it to be, I wasn't expecting it to be very, very bad. Like I wasn't expecting it to just be waxy and perform like kids makeup or something, but I wasn't expecting some of these shadows to be so exciting and textured and for the colors to be so great. So the thing that really shocked me was the way that a couple of these shades, the ones that I happened to try in that video, performed. So there was this one, which is the one that I spotlit in that video. I put this all over my lid and I just found it totally extraordinary. I love the mix of sort of like brown and bronze and shine. The way that it shines, I don't know. It's like, it looks very polished. Like it looks like my finger has been polished. I just love that. Then I also went into this shade in that video and I don't know if the camera can do it justice, but it's unbelievably flaky and shiny. I mean, this is some like Natasha Denona shit up in here. Like that is out of control. I was trying to give you the angles. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this, especially this gold shade, it's flaky, it's creamy. It lit up that eye look when I put it on. I mean, it was bananas. It made my eyes look so, like it looked like the makeup was so high end and I was just peeing my pants while I was filming that video while I was applying the eye look. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting this look from a ZC palette. I also tested some of the mattes in that video and they're very creamy and very lovely. And I have continued to use especially these two. For casual daytime makeup over the past week or two, I've been doing some all matte looks, which is very unusual for me. But I've really enjoyed putting this top one right here that's on my pinky. I've really enjoyed putting that just all over my lids and blending it out. And sometimes using this paler color to make the blend softer around the edges. I have been so excited to do my makeup with this palette on several occasions since filming that first video. But there is a caveat, and this is part of why I wanted to include this palette in this video, because this palette definitely belongs in this video because it blew me away so completely, and I definitely didn't have very high expectations of it, so it surpassed my expectations wildly. But I also have been looking for a video in which to let you guys know that when I branched out of this color story, which is like my dream, you know, there have been some of these shadows that haven't performed quite as well. So this pressed glitter has been amazing as well. It's very, very fine glitter, very closely packed, and the adhesive is good. But these kinds of pale shades, like pale iridescent looking shades, like this one, this purple one looks like it would be sort of like a flippy, like glass bowl from ColourPop or something. And the green looks like it would be like Tea Garden from ColourPop. And they just don't perform like that. They're just a little bit, I mean, they are giving me some shine. Here I've swatched them on my palm, which is really giving them the absolute best chance that I possibly could, because the oils on the palm of one's hand make an eyeshadow really swatch as well as it's ever going to. So you can see that's them at their absolute top potential. So they are doing what they're trying to do. They're a little bit reflective and shiny, but for me, they just don't have the wild, super shine and texture that I'm going for. Like they're a little bit thin, The flip isn't very intense. They're a little bit sheer. And if something's gonna be sheer like that, I want the glitters in it to be really, really shiny so it looks wet. They're just subtle. They're like subtler versions of this kind of thing. There's the orange glitter. You can barely see it, but above the orange glitter, I swatched this sort of swirled shade. There's like a swirled gold and white shade, and it's pretty lackluster as well. It's a shine. The shine is there, but it's just a very soft shine. So now that I've had a more extensive experience with this palette and I've tried almost all of the shadows, if not all of the shadows, I can let you know that it's a little bit of an uneven performance. Not all of the shades are that like bam, like high polish, high shine, chrome finish, incredibly flaky, like Natasha Denona goodness. Not every single shadow in this palette is like that, but the mattes are really creamy and perform really well. And the shadows that are giving it to you are really, really giving it to you. The shades that I love in this palette, I love so much that I am definitely going to keep it because I've been thinking of it all the time and wanting to use it all the time. And I think I'm gonna get good use out of it, even though not every single shadow is up to my standards for like what I would want it to be. It does have a mirror, by the way. It's just that it has this like sticky cover, and I've just kept it on here because it's so ornate and I like it. It's like holographic. Oh, no, I see. This is the holographic part. And then the mirror has a separate cover on it. They really did the most. Okay, the fourth product is something that I've had for a really long time. This was PR from Givenchy a long time ago. I mean, I think it came through Octoly. It was, yeah, I've definitely had this since 2019. I'm not sure whether it was early in 2019 or later in 2019, but let's go ahead and say mid 2019. So at this point, that's 2 years. I was excited to get it in PR because it's so pretty. It was like special edition packaging from Givenchy. I like this packaging, but I also really like the 4 different compartments of 4 different colors of powder. There's just something very appealing about it. This is what the 4 powders look like on the inside. When you shake them out, they do come out as 4 different colors of powder. It's like a color correcting, tone balancing powder for people with very pale skin. So that sounds ideal for me, right? But I didn't expect to use it very much because I almost never powdered my face. Like back in the day, I almost never powdered. It was just the one really nice powder that I kept in my drawer that kept me from ever being tempted to buy another powder or accept any other powder in PR, because every time a powder came along, I'd be like, well, I have that one from Givenchy, so I probably don't need to buy or accept this one. I can just, either not buy it or give it away, as the case may be. Recently, I've started powdering again, and I think that it really started when my acne surged back up again, and so I was doing all sorts of very delicate color correcting, layered with spot concealing, layered with base. And it was always like a very delicate process because I didn't want to pile on too much makeup, but I did want to conceal the blemishes. So then I would get that work done, that very careful spot concealing and layering. And then I would want to make sure, I would be afraid that just one brush of my hair against my face was going to wipe it away. So I started reaching for powder when I was doing that to just give those products that I was layering on top of my blemished skin a little bit better of a chance of staying through the entire video or all day. And in doing that, I started reaching for this powder. And when I started using it actively for the reasons that I had, I started to really appreciate the sort of porcelain finish that it gives to the skin. And then I started to experiment with using it more, powdering more of my face than just the parts where I had put spot concealer that I didn't want to budge. So I started powdering my forehead, like between my eyes up here, between my eyebrows. I started powdering more around my marionette lines to try to cause them to sort of fade and not be so enhanced. Because when my skin gets really luminous, which it often does because I'm putting like luminous products on it, most of it looks better when it's luminous, but there are these parts of the topography of my face that I would rather just downplay a little bit. One of them is right here, another of them is right here. So I started reaching for this product to dampen the shine in certain areas of my face. And not only does it perform well to dampen the shine, this is the thing, any powder will dampen the shine. For a while I was using the Glossier Wowder, which is nice, it's fine, and it does dampen the shine. So I was using that. But then when I started using this, testing it again, trying it again, I realized that not only does it dampen the shine, but it leaves behind just a very, very, very beautiful finish. The color is great for me. That sort of white mixed with lavender mixed with green. It's really great for brightening up those parts of my skin and helping to maintain the brightness that I'm trying to work into my makeup when I put my base on. And then it just leaves this sort of seamless, it's like matte but not powdery. It leaves like this sort of seamless, almost satin matte quality that I've just kind of fallen in love with. And it's funny, I think the reason this made it into this video is that I've been using it a lot. I went like 2 years and barely used it. And then I've recently been using it a ton, and I like haven't wanted to travel without it. Like I haven't wanted to do my makeup over here without it. I'm always bringing it over. I've used it every time I've done my makeup for the past couple of months. Not only is that true, so not only has it really surprised me, but I've actually grown to really relish it. I never thought I would use powder a lot, but I always thought if I did start using powder a lot, I would do it sort of gingerly with some fear. I'd be like using it for practical reasons, but I would always be afraid that my skin would look too powdery, that it would apply too much. But with this, every time I reach for it, I'm like excited. This is so weird. It's become one of my favorite parts of my makeup routine. And I've also been using it a lot, even on no makeup days or days when I'm not filming. So this has really wormed its way into my affections. It's surprising for a powder, it's surprising for this powder, and it's surprising, given all that, how much I actually actively love it. Who am I over here? I'm like, I like bronzer, I like powder. And finally, here's a product which, based on the description on the website, the description of it before I ever even tried it, I thought that I would not like. It's the Merit Tinted Lip Oil, and I have it in the shade Marrakesh. I didn't think I was gonna like it because it says it's a lip oil, and my experience with lip oils is that they last for but a moment. Like within the blink of one eyelash, they're gone from your lips. Either they're gone or they've soaked into your lips. I've had a couple of different kinds of lip oil where I just feel like it literally is just oil. Like you've just put a little bit of like a little olive oil on your lips and it lasts about as long as a little bit of olive oil ever would. But I also find that lip oil is sometimes a way of talking about a gel stain for the lips. Like some brands will call their gel stain a lip oil. And I felt like the way this looked based on pictures and stuff, it looked more like it was gonna be that kind of gel stain. I was worried. My first impressions of it when it launched, I was reading about it and watching reviews and watching like the launch video or the product video on Sephora featuring the person who founded the brand. I felt like it looked like something that would disappear in a second, possibly leave a weird stain on the lips, and also wouldn't enhance in the way that I like things to enhance my lips. I feel like there needs to be a little bit of a beefiness so that I can overline a tiny bit or just draw on that sort of rim around my lips a tiny bit to make my lips look their best. And with gel stain products and oils, I just feel like there's not enough substance to the product for it to do that. So I was very skeptical, and then Merit graciously sent this to me. I started trying it, and I loved it. I'll put it on for you now. I have a little bit of lip liner on, but you'll be able to see the effect of this on top of it. It's thin for sure. It's like thinner than a lot of lip glosses, but it doesn't feel like that just totally slippy evaporating oil. And it doesn't feel like a totally evaporating gel or gel stain. It feels like a very, very thin and very natural and easy to wear version of a lip gloss, which is what I prefer. And if they had marketed it that way, I think I would have been much more enthusiastic about it before I tried it. As it is, I really, really like the effect. I love this color particularly. There's something about this formula with this color. I feel like it really lights up the lips. It's flattering. I feel like it kind of makes my mouth look its best. I really fell in love with this when I was editing videos of myself wearing it. Like I feel like when I first put it on, sometimes it looks a little bit too red, a little bit too unnatural. Like I just put it on and I'm like, my lip product, bah, 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 you know? So it was just me like putting it on and looking in the mirror and then going, I would probably be like, it's fine. I give it like a B+, A-. But because I am in this weird position of like editing lots of footage of myself talking, I'm able to see the way that it ends up looking after I've been wearing it for a while. And when I'm animated, when I'm moving, my mouth is moving and it sort of like melts into the rest of my makeup look and like melts into my lips. And when it gets like that, when it kind of becomes part of me, I really, really like the way that it makes my lips look because I feel like it's enhanced, but still very natural. And so I have been wearing it like nonstop. I just can't put it down. I'm always reaching for it. I feel like it adds color and shine and polish to this part of any makeup look, but it never competes with other stuff that's going on my face. And that's a very difficult balance for a product to strike. So this has impressed me a lot. It's also just pleasant. It's pleasant to apply. It's pleasant to wear. It feels very special and, I don't know, classy. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to give it a chance. I feel like it has a nice balance between feeling fresh and youthful on the face and feeling sophisticated. That's it, y'all. Those are 5 makeup products that I thought that I wasn't gonna like or that I didn't like when I first tried them that I've actually ended up loving. So just to recap, the Persona Cream Bronzer Stick, the Wet n Wild Glass Correct Primer Base in green, this ZC palette, which is the Fireworks 16 Colors Eyeshadow Palette number 10, the Givenchy Prism Libre Loose Powder in Mousseline, and the Merit Lip Oil in Marrakesh. If you have ever gotten a makeup product, hated it when you first tried it, and then grown to love it over time, I'm sure it would be entertaining for us all if you will leave that story in the comment section down below. Tell us, what was the product and how long did it take you to come around? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.